I think she's hit this career high in a way, right? Because everyone thought she wasn't capable of doing this, and then she did it. She did it well. Like she was in the most intense zone, and she really came through.
I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. Thank you for talking to me today about The Pit. You were amazing in it, and I love the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. I've seen the whole all 15 episodes, and so I want to discuss the whole season. So be you can speak freely. We'll be sure to hold all these responses until everyone has seen the show as well.
Awesome.
So you just first things first. Your character has been there for a little bit at the hospital. How does at the start of this shift, how does she view, these newbies coming into the hospital and like how do they compare to where she was on her first day?
It's tricky for her because I think she is still learning. And she is in this interesting space where even though she is still learning, she still has to teach them. And I will say, I do think of the residents, she's the one who perhaps approaches them with a lot of empathy, and I guess grace for their mistakes. I think she does a really great job of, getting Whitaker, for example, back up on the horse after he experiences his first patient loss. Or really teaching Javadi's character as to why her approach might be something that's a little unconventional with the mercury poisoning patient. I think she just does a really good job of being a really good teacher, while also holding space for the interns feeling like they're fucking up, because I think she feels like that.
Yeah.
So I think like her background allows her to be a really great teacher to them, and also allows her to really empathize with them in a way that maybe some of the other doctors don't.
Do you think there was anyone in that crew that like maybe she was hesitant on? She was like, but then towards the end of the shift, she kind of got a new maybe respect or understanding of this person?
Sure. I think Santos's character, Issa's character, I think, I never thought the way that she gave her feedback was necessarily cruel or mean. I think she did a good job of keeping it professional and telling her, this is what you're doing wrong. And to Santos's credit, she like takes that. But I think because the characters are so different, I think Dr. Mohan maybe went, oh, I don't know if our methods really gel. And then I think with the seizure patient, she kind of sees like, oh, this is this person's strength in this moment, and she knows how to take control of the situation with the knowledge that she has. And I think over the course of that shift, she is able to realize, oh, no, I maybe misinterpreted what was going on here. Or I didn't give this person enough credit. So absolutely, I do think those relationships definitely evolved as the shift went on, for sure.
One key element of Samira is just how long she can take with patients. Can you just, in your own words, kind of explain how that is both a strength in your ability as a doctor, but then also at the same time a flaw that can maybe get in the way in some circumstances?
I mean, I think when I first got wind of what this character was about, I was a little concerned that it might focus a little too much on the positives, because it is absolutely a good thing, right? As a patient, you want a doctor that is a patient advocate. I want a doctor that's a patient advocate. I want to make sure that I'm being treated appropriately, and every possible test that can be run is run. So I think as a patient, and most viewers are patients, right? You really glob onto that, and you really root for this doctor, right? But I think the show also does an incredible job of showing that there's a reason why not all doctors can do that. And most doctors don't, because there is a system that prevents them from doing that. And also you're a burden on the rest of your medical team, but also some of the patients, right? You need to be able to see these patients in the waiting room at a certain frequency so that they're given appropriate care at the right time. And I think that's more so a commentary on what the medical system is, and frankly, how badly it is structured. I mean, there's the reason why people aren't getting care isn't because of the doctors. It is because of how many roadblocks and setbacks they are to people getting care. So I do think the show does such a great job of exploring the different sides of her, and the positives and the negatives to her approach.
Yeah, and it's actually so yeah, that approach is also something that, obviously gets on Robbie's nerves. how do those two feel about each other? And do you think Robbie kind of gains any new under? I mean, I know you guys have worked together even before the show, like before in world before the show starts. Those two characters have had plenty of time with each other. But do you think their relationship, evolves in any notable way within the context of this first ship from beginning to end?
I think it's interesting because I don't think his perspective of me changes that much. I think he always knew that I was an incredible doctor. I mean, that's what Noah would tell me when we were filming some of our confrontation scenes. Like he would sometimes like go like, "Well, I think my character is only this hard on you because he knows what you're like capable of." And I think the mass casualty incident is really where you see that he does trust her and he was just trying to push her to be the doctor that he knows she can be. So in a weird way, I don't think on his end the relationship evolves, but I think for me, absolutely, I feel like he respects me more, and that's really satisfying because I think throughout the season you do see that I think she is looking for his approval because in her head, he's a little bit of a father figure to her. And so I think she's kind of looking for his approval, his sign off on everything that she's doing. And so that's why I think it really hurts when she has like that negative feedback for her.
Hmm.
So I think I'm able to feel like I'm getting that validation from his character towards the end of the season, but I think it was always there. I think it
Yeah.
just I think there's probably just a weird mind thing going on for her as she's receiving that feedback for sure.
At the end of the shift in like the last hour or two, your character kind of she hyped up on adrenaline. She does after things are settling down, she doesn't want to go. And when I was watching it in my head, I'm like, it's such a clear sign of like something's off here. Like just go home, you're good. So just like in your own words, what's going through her mind at that point?
I think she's hit this career high in a way, right? Because everyone thought she wasn't capable of doing this, and then she fucking did it. She did it well. Like she was in the most intense zone, and she really came through. And so there's definitely that adrenaline rush from that. I think she's just like, let's just keep going. Let's just make sure that we can hit everything we possibly can. I'm gonna save more people. Um, but I think she also really just doesn't want to go home. As McKay says, this job can be your life. And they can kind of go like, why would you say that? Like, why would you fucking
Yeah.
say, you
What?
know? And I mean, the writing's on the table. It's she doesn't really have much else in her life outside of this hospital. And so I think she knows that if she goes home to crash, because I think everyone knows this crash is coming, she's just gonna crash alone. Like there's no one to decompress with. There's no one to have like comfort her as she's going through this because ultimately she is experiencing this adrenaline high because of a really traumatic event. um, One of our set photographer actually is a war journalist. And as we were filming this, he said, for whatever reason, this just really reminds me of when I would see people who experience some sort of injury and they aren't like aware of it at the time because they're experiencing adrenaline high and they're sort of like, they'll be awfully injured and they'll be like, I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm great, let's just go home. Why are you guys like, working on me? And I mean, obviously she's not like injured, but I think there's something going on there for her. And I think a lot of doctors experience this as well, just experiencing this sudden crash that happens after a shift. And so I feel really grateful to have the opportunity to tell that story.
Hmm. Well, like, how much have you fleshed out your character's kind of backstory? Like, what's at home? What her family's like? Maybe friends that you either have or don't have. How much of that have you fleshed out on your own, just to kind of get into her headspace?
I mean, Scott was incredibly detailed when we had the character talk before we started filming. So he essentially gave me like a good house of who she was, and I decorated it a bunch. I mean, I think the thing he really emphasized was that she's like really lonely and like the only thing she has is work. And we talked about some of the relationships in her life, which I hope we explore more in season two, hopefully, or even some of her trauma that led her to be an emergency medicine doctor. So yeah, I think there was a lot of detail that's put into this character and every character and honestly everything on our show. I think that's what viewers are responding to. Everything's very fleshed out. And it's a world they're really only getting a little bit of a peek into. So, I hope they keep coming back because absolutely I would hope everything is explored and exposed more.
Yeah. I mean, I think we just talked about this a little bit, but just, to also ask, season two is happening. It's right around the corner. What do you hypothetically, just with your character across the board, what would you really like to see explored? Like what do you want her to go for, or like go through, maybe evolve? Like what would you love to see?
I mean, I'm just curious to see how the mass casualty incident affects her, hopefully, or any of the other characters. I mean, I honestly have like no idea what's going on with season two. I would love to know as much as you. So yeah, I think we go back soon. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I just think like every idea that Scott has is just amazing. So I'm just really excited to dig in and so curious to see where everything's gonna go.
Now, my last question for you, it might be a softball, and we've also, brought this up a little bit. Just I want to hear in your own words, why is Dr. Samira a great doctor?
Oh, because she really cares about her patients. And if you have a problem, she's going to find out what that problem is, even if it's like a weird thing she's read in a journal once, or if she needs to take 5 hours to figure out what that problem is. You are a patient that is going to be believed by her and a patient that is going to be advocated for. And I think that's what makes her amazing. She's fighting in a system that doesn't really want her to exist there. And she says, "No, fuck you, system. I'm gonna make sure that one patient I'm taking care of this hour is taken care of." So yeah, I mean, honestly, I just think that's really cool, and I think she's the type of doctor that any patient would love to have.
Yeah. I mean, I would feel safe. So I think
Oh,
you did a
great.
great job. So, well, thank you again for talking to me about the show. I look forward to everyone, seeing it wrap up. Everyone seems to love it. I love it. And I look forward to whatever season two has to bring. I hope it's not too traumatic.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know.
No
Let's
promises,
see what ends up
obviously.
happening. No promises.